Good evening, everybody. Welcome into Coach's Corner East. I'm your host, Mike Sparks, on this 12th, I believe, of October, midway through the 10th month. We're glad to have you aboard as we get ready to head into week 9 of the high school football season. Our show is brought to you in part tonight by Terry Gribble and Associates at your Gallion Community Center YMCA, Dr. Erica Schieber at Bucyrus Veterinary Service, 222 West Mary Street, Bucyrus, Rod Steiger and Associates at Pizza Hut here in Gallion and Bucyrus, host of our show since 1992. And Luann Krebs at River's Edge Embroidery, screen printing and signs, the official phone board t-shirt provider, Route 309, across from the Marion Depot. A little later on tonight, filling in for Crestline, it will be the Gallion boys golf team as they get ready to head down to Columbus to participate in the state boys golf tournament this weekend. So we'll talk to Bryce Lehman and some of the golfers. Prior to that, it'll be Jake Bruner and the Colonel Crawford Eagle football team coming off a big win at Winford and finishing out their regular season at home the next 2 weeks with Mohawk coming in this week. And to start off, as we do each and every week, it's the Gallion portion of our show. And again, Matt Dick and the Gallion Football Tigers with us. And thanks again for coming. It's great to see you again. And week 8 in the books. And you know, we talked last week, Coach, it was going to be a tough game going down to Highland, a team that is now in the MOAC, but has a really strong program, and you fell to them 35-21 on the road. You're now 4-4 overall, 3-2 in the MOAC. And boy, when I was reading the articles in the Gallion Inquirer and looking at stats, it was the 6 turnovers that played a huge role in that game. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we got off to a slow start, had some injuries to battle all night, and we just couldn't dodge that turnover bug, and I think that's hard. We had some plays open sometimes, and we just didn't execute them as well as we could have. I really felt like we weren't gap sound up front. We talked about that a lot. But the bottom line is if you have 6 turnovers, it's really, really hard to beat a team that is anywhere close to you. I mean, they don't even have to be as good as you. Mm-hmm. If you have 6 turnovers, it's hard to win a game, period. And it was a tough night. Our kids, I thought, did a great job of battling back from an 0-14 start. I think we tied it up 14-14. And then in the third, we tied it back up 20-20. I think we had a chance to go down and tie it in the fourth. And I mean, you know, that's nice. I just wish we would have got stopped instead of having another turnover. And that just is tough.
Were those turnovers more of a mental lapse on your kids' part, or was it what Highland was doing maybe from a physical standpoint, or maybe a little combination of both in your opinion?
Yeah, you got to give them credit. Early on, they just hit us, and I think some of the injuries were a result of them being big, strong kids that put a lot of time in the weight room and just tough kids. So I think that's where I think they started the game off well, hitting. And then, some of it was just poor decisions. Some of it's poor routes, O-line blocking. It all kind of goes together. When you have a clean pocket, you run good routes, you have a lot less interceptions. But also fumbling the ball. I mean, when we're running downfield for a 10-yard run and the ball just gets loose and then someone hits us, that's on the kid running the ball. Mm-hmm. And we talked about that. I mean, it's easy to say, hey, hang on to that ball, high and tight. It's easy to do fumble drills every Monday or do dive bombers after you fumble. But the truth is, it's hard to be fundamentally sound with the ball at all times, especially when you carry the ball as much as some of our running backs and quarterbacks do. They're going to have some fumbles, and we got to play through that. It just happened to be on the same night where we had multiple interceptions by multiple quarterbacks and multiple fumbles, and that's just too much to overcome, and it just stinks because we played some decent football if you took that away.
Yeah, you mentioned to the Gallion Inquirer, I thought we played really physical with a physical football team. I thought our defense played great all night. Offensively, we just couldn't beat the turnover bug. And as you mentioned, Highland scored their first touchdown. Colton Stover 1-yard tote. Scots made it 14-0 on a pick 6 by Dane Nauman for 28. Nauman ended up running the ball 29 times for 279 yards just as a junior. Is he, in your opinion, the best back you guys have seen all year?
Well, Cooper Kent would say yes. I'd probably, the Marion Harding kid, the McComb kid, there were a lot of good backs we've seen this year. But he's definitely a special physical runner. And their O-line and that fullback did a great job block for him all night long. You got to give them credit. But I think that's the momentum thing. When we've lost, we have just battered momentum. And usually it's just like one thing after the other, and then all of a sudden we're down by way too much and we get beat. This time when we lost, I thought we really started off poorly, but we battled back. And I really think that, that hats off to our kids and their character and just who they are and who this team is. The way they battled back, I was really, really proud of that, because there's multiple times where they could have just laid down, went to sleep, and they battled back. And like I said, we had a chance with the ball in the third or fourth. We could have gone down, punched it in, maybe go for 2, win it, or or be up in the fourth. And if you had that chance, you're in the game. So as a coach, even with all those bad things happening, our kids fought so hard, and I'm very, very proud of that. And, as a coach, we're just going to look for ways to, put them in better positions where, maybe that turnovers don't happen as much, and B, we worked on ball control.
Carson Frankhouse, your quarterback, one of your quarterbacks, cut the lead with a 1-yard run, and then Gabe Ivey recovered the onside kick, and we've talked about that in the past, being kind of creative on what you're doing on the kickoffs. Ivey capped off a 46-yard drive with a 2-yard run to tie the score at 14, as you mentioned. Gavin Toombs caught a 22-yard pass for Highland from Stover with 4:28 left in the half to take the lead at the break, and Braxton Prosser came back, tied the game at 21 in the third quarter on a 14-yard run, but the Scots rode Nauman to seal the deal. Braxton Prosser, 10 of 25, 108 yards passing. Gabe Ivey, 19 carries, 74 yards, and a touchdown. Landon Campbell, 5 receptions and 57 yards. And as I mentioned, Dane Nauman, 29 carries, 279 yards, and 2 TDs. You rushed for 143 yards, passed for 138, pretty balanced there, 281 yards. And Highland, they rushed for 306. And they were 9 of 14 passing for 65 yards, 371 yards of total offense. And you knew that going in, that they were going to be a run-heavy team. Did you change up anything schematically on defense to try to limit that, or was it really one in the trenches for them?
No, I think our D-line played well, and I think, if I would go back and defensively just take away a couple of those play-action passes, and that momentum, it just keeps them going, they keep feeding them. And I think we got them in some tough situations where second long or third long, and then maybe someone fell asleep or lined up wrong and a tight end got open down the middle or something like that. But I thought guys like Houston Frank, Landon Campbell up front, Landon Kurtzman, Holden Hunter, Carson Frankhouse, did a really nice job with him all night long. And I know he had huge stats and stuff, but I'm telling you, if you saw the momentum, he's going to have huge stats every time you have momentum like that. And I just wish we could have played a clean game, because I think it would have been a fun game to be able to finish. Even if we would have just played a clean game in the second half, it would have been a lot more enjoyable as a coach just to lose that way than how we did.
Sure, understood. Take a break. We'll come back and talk to the kids around the table. We're brought to you in part by Don Barn Associates at the Galleon Building and Loan Bank, Matt Studer at Spitzer Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Kia, 1 mile east of the Richland Mall, Mark Osborne and Associates at E-Crane International, serving worldwide markets from the Galleon Industrial Park. Justin Lester is up, as we have a host of seniors here tonight. And Justin, it's great to see you again. Thanks for coming back out. And tough one down on the road. Nauman kid, pretty good, pretty physical. How was their line?
I didn't play, but you could tell from the sideline that it was definitely going to be a game that was won on the defensive and offensive.
Dealing with some injuries, or?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So are you going to be able to get back on the field this week?
I'm out for the season right now.
You're out for the season, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's unfortunate, but so you play a different role, because it looks pretty good. I'm going to talk to Coach about this when we come back. It looks pretty good, like the Tigers are going to play in Week 11. So what have you been doing during practices and during the games to help your teammates out?
Big thing for our injured players right now is just stepping up and starting to play that position to where you may not be able to be on the field, but you can definitely help your replacements and help them during practice and teach them to be how good they can be. Yeah, absolutely, and pumping them up and maybe giving them some guidance. So, well, good luck. I hope things work out for you, and you can contribute in that way and still being part of the team, and you do whatever you need to do. So I appreciate you stopping by. It's good to see you. Connor Ganshorn is next, and Connor, thanks for coming. I appreciate that. And you learn a lot. Coach talked about the pride of not falling and just saying, hanging your heads, burying it, say, well, we're done. You continue to fight, and you're going to need that here in these next 2 games and hopefully into the playoffs. Talk about how proud you were to watch you and your teammates say, guys, it's time to step up, time to get it done.
I mean, we had some times where we were hanging our heads, but we all picked each other up, told them we can do this, we can fight. We brought back a 14-0 lead from Highland, and I hung my head a couple times, but Logan Shifley picked my head up and told me we could do this, and yeah.
And that's good when your brothers and your teammates can do that and say, hey, we're not done yet. I'm sure that touchdown right before half hurt a little bit. You're going in down a touchdown. What did you guys talk about at halftime to say, hey, let's get back at it?
We changed up our defense a little bit and compromised on how we could defend more of our situation, to where I had stepped up a couple times and lost my guy in the background. Yeah.
Just make adjustments as is. Okay. You got Pleasant coming in this week, your last official home game during the regular season. See if that changes during the playoffs. And that's a special night for seniors. What's the thought and the mindset that's going to be going through your head on Friday night?
Oh, there's going to be a lot. After the passing of Cooper, thoughts of him and going 110% every play of the game.
Yeah.
Doing it for him.
That's good. Well, I hope you enjoy that experience. It's going to be a wonderful night, a tough night, an emotional night, but it's one that you and your fellow seniors will never forget, that's for sure. Good luck to you. You bet. Dalton Sparks is here, and it's good to see you again as well. And yeah, tough loss, but the sun came up. You got another opportunity. How have practices been going this week as you prepare for Pleasant to come to your place for senior night for you?
This week's been pretty good. I think our offensive line has gelled a lot more, and we're starting to be a lot more physical in practice, which looks good.
Yeah. Coach talked a little bit about the injuries, and this time of year they start to pile up. They become more than dings and bruises and things like that as the body starts to wear down. Overall, how do you feel that not only yourself but the rest of your team is kind of coping with those things that come around? It's just natural when you play a physical sport.
I think our team's actually doing really good with it. We got that next man up mentality, and I think our whole team is coming together and supporting those guys and teaching them how to do it.
Yeah, and I'll ask the same question that I asked to your buddy there, Connor. It'll be bittersweet, I think, on Friday night. A lot of emotion, but there's a lot of good that can come from it. A lot of fun when you're out there one last time on that home field, barring what happens with the playoffs. How do you kind of balance that fun, take care of business, and the emotional side from a mental standpoint?
Well, it's definitely going to be hard because you got to go out there, and obviously you're trying to go 1-0, but you got to fight through all the emotions. We're just trying to have fun out there, and I think we're going to do it.
Good, very good. Well, good luck to you. Have a lot of fun. Enjoy it, and I appreciate you coming out. Finally, Jack Hart is here with us, and appreciate you stopping by again for the show tonight. And what's the biggest thing, if I said right now, write on a piece of paper, what do the Tigers have to do Friday night to beat Pleasant? What would you write?
Just play hard and enjoy the moment. It'll be a tough game, like it's a conference game.
Yeah.
And anything can happen. And also last home game, and just gonna have the most fun as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly, Pleasant doesn't have the record that they would like. They have just one win. How have you and your teammates, through your coaches, kind of said, hey, we can't take these guys for granted. Pleasant is a very storied program. We don't want them beating us on senior night. Have you guys talked about that during practice?
Yeah, we have. Just sticking with the game plan, going hard in practice, and keeping that focus. And yeah.
All right. Well, good luck. Have fun with it, and enjoy that experience. It'll be very special for you. Appreciate that. Take one more break here. Come back and talk to Coach Dick here in just a moment. Show is brought to you in part by Steve and Chuck Keller at Keller Auto Parts, your Napa dealer, Uptown, Gallion, and Crestline. Dr. Thomas M. Britton at Clubview Vision Center next to the golf course in Bucyrus. Joe Kleiman, Associate at the Gallion office of First Federal Bank of Ohio. And once again, I need to bring up that we're getting close to the end of the regular season, and playoffs are about to come through all of our way in the state of Ohio. Once again, 16 teams per region getting in. As of right now, Gallion is sitting in the 11th spot, Division 4, Region 14, with a point average of 8.7875, just ahead of your MOAC rival in Shelby, who's 8.1625, and right behind Buckeye Valley at 8.9497. And there's a lot of analytics, as you know, as a coach out there that you can look on the internet. And right now, Drew Pasteur projects you would finish 15th and would have to take on a very talented West Holmes team if all things played out as he expected. I know you're not looking at that, but you guys probably have talked about that in your coaches' meetings, I assume, right?
No,
Okay.
Don't care. Trying to go 1-0. That's what our focus is, and we're going to make the playoffs. So if we go down to West Holmes or up to Cleveland Glenville or wherever else, we'll be there. We'll be ready to play. And we did talk a little about with our kids getting that third win in a row. I think we were about to do that at Highland, and I think the community, just the kids, they're getting excited about it. It changes how you practice. That energy was up, and we just didn't play well. And I think that's something that this team we've struggled. When we lose, it's because we haven't played well, and we got to change that. And I told them, hey, go 1-0 this week. Then we're going to River Valley. It's a hard place to win. Go 1-0 there. And then, guess what? You're going to play in a playoff game, whether it's home or away. You go 1-0, that's 3 in a row. That's going to be a fun experience. And how many teams are playing after the first round of playoffs? Not very many.
Not very many.
So
that's right.
it's that chance to make those special moments. And with this senior class, with this team in total, just how they've come together, the Cooper stuff, but just injuries and just the one thing after the next. It seems like there's been a lot this year, and how these guys just respond. I told them I want more minutes with them. I want more time with them, and I think they want more time together, and it's going to be a fun next couple of weeks.
Week 9 coming up. You are at home against Pleasant. Kevin Klein leads the Spartans, and as I mentioned, just not the year that they were hoping for. 1-7 overall, 0-5 in the MOAC. Their only win, an 8-0 win over Winford in week 2. They lost to Ontario last week, 31-20, a team that you beat here a couple weeks ago at your place. They're only averaging about 11 points a game, but they give up about 37. Something that your offense can probably take advantage of, and the way your physicality plays on defense, that probably lends itself to keeping that point down. Talk about what you've seen from the Spartans on a film standpoint.
The first thing that jumps off is their offense moves the ball on everybody. And sometimes you see it, someone score versus Clear Fork, and they'll go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and they'll finally score. Pleasant takes the ball and drives it almost in every game for the first 2 or 3 series. Defensively, they struggle stopping the run or pass. They struggle on defense, and I think that teams score on them, and then eventually the points get too much, and then they play a little poor like any other team that's getting beat. But offensively, man, did they do a great job of mixing up the run, the pass, the screen, the draw, the trick plays to move the ball. And that's very, very noticeable on all the film, and we've really preached that to our kids. Our defense has a tall challenge, and maybe they get down to the goal line, they don't score every time, but they move the ball well, and if they execute down at the goal line, then they're going to score plenty of points. And if our offense wants to turn the ball over, we're going to be in big trouble. But what I expect is our kids to play angry, to play in a way that honors Cooper McCabe, to play in a way that honors this senior class, and it's going to be a special night at Heisey Park on Friday.
Yeah, well, very good. Well, you enjoy it. All of you have a great time with it. Make great memories, and we will talk next week. Coaches coming next week. It'll be no players. It'll be all the coaches. We'll talk to them kind of as they get ready to wrap up Week 10 and head into the playoffs. How that season went, and we'll be looking forward to that. Thanks so much for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
You bet. Take a break. It's Colonel Crawford football right after this timeout.